Glück auf YouTube und herzlich willkommen zurück zu Half-Life 2 Episode 1, Kommentar der Entwickler, Kapitel 2, Direkter Eingriff. Oder just a sec. Ja, nimmt auf. Ich brauche unbedingt einen zweiten Bildschirm.
Let's see if we can find a way through the control room.
Läuft hier schon mal vor.
This is another key vista, this time showing the core. It's a visual payoff for the player's success in getting here, and simultaneously, a way to present the player with a view of the next challenge.
Core entry. Let me see if I can call it back to this level. These readings are off the chart. I hope it's not too late to re-engage the containment field.
Ja, das war schon ganz gut.
Good thing you know what you're doing. Well, here's your elevator. Gordon, I wish there was something else I could do to help.
Alles gut.
Creating a believable, interesting relationship between Gordon and Alex is made a lot tougher by the fact that Gordon never talks. This elevator scene presented a nice little opportunity to have Alex express some emotion in a situation where Gordon isn't really in a position to respond.
Hurry back.
There we go again. Oh, hey. Yeah, you can get fucked.
The core design posed a lot of difficult challenges. Generally speaking, if the gameplay in a particular map isn't working, we can simply cut the entire area. This wasn't true of the core, because we knew it was critical to the story. On top of that, designing Citadel gameplay is often a bigger challenge than working out areas in City 17. Largely because Citadel levels have a narrow set of gameplay tools. There are less enemy types available, and the player is usually only armed with the gravity gun. Because of this, we had to go through many iterations of the core design. One of the earlier prototypes was a kind of futuristic version of Operation, where players had to use the gravity gun to cleanly manipulate rods into slots in the core. That didn't work, partly because playtesters found that their view was obstructed by the rods, which made it frustratingly difficult to manipulate them with any kind of precision. We prototyped, playtested, and abandoned several other designs until we finally arrived at one that was fun, while still being challenging enough to give players the sense that they'd accomplished a significant goal.
Okay. Aber das ist ja auch so was Ähnliches. Get fucked. Nein. Hey. Спасибо. Пожалуйста. Okay. Also ich finde es auf jeden Fall geil, dass hier um einiges mehr Kommentare sind wie bei der Update-Version von Half-Life 2. Ich meine, klar, hier kommen die Kommentare direkt vom Entwicklerteam von Valve. Und da war es ja Ich will jetzt nicht sagen, nur das Entwicklerteam von der Update-Version. Allerdings, ich meine, hier werden grundlegende Spielelemente. Hier werden grundlegende Spielelemente erklärt. Die Entwickler vom Update, die hatten ja in Anführungszeichen nur ihr Update zu erklären.
The difference between skill levels isn't just a matter of damage dealt and received. For instance, in easy mode, we increase the length of time a combine ball survives before exploding, putting less pressure on the player to get the ball into a socket.
Okay. That's interesting. Yes. Get fucked. Piss off.
The ball tubes are an example of us working within our available toolkit to create a puzzle around a recognized concept. As a physical navigation puzzle, it's different from what the player has experienced before, and it's challenging while not being a binary succeed or fail situation. There are a number of ways to approach this puzzle. In addition to simply dodging, jumping, or ducking the balls, the player can grab or deflect them with his gravity gun, or pick up the hatch and use it as a shield to block the incoming barrage.
Also ist meine Methode gar nicht so abwegig. Gott verdammt noch eins. Arschgeig. Yes.
The Combine core was another new space that needed to stand out from the rest of the environment. We wanted the core to look hot and dangerous, but still be distinct from the fires and the cool blues of the rest of the Citadel. The core became the primary light source in this space, and in conjunction with the white set of Combine materials, we created an extreme contrast to the normally dark values of the Citadel metals.
Okay.
The core sphere was one of the last special effects that we finished. To achieve this effect, the core uses animated textures, flow maps, normal map refraction and specularity, as well as volumetric particulate matter rendering, which takes advantage of the core being a sphere.
The higher contrast white Combine motif of the core sets it apart from the rest of the Citadel and heightens its importance within the visual style of Combine aesthetics. It also helps enhance the perception of heat and radiation in the space.
Ja, wenn dann die Idioten hier vorbeikommen, da kann ich dann eben halt nicht auf das Gesagte eingehen. Weil auch wenn wir unverrückbar sind, versuche ich die Hintergrundgeräusche, die durch die Vollspacks hier verursacht werden, so gering wie möglich zu halten. Dass ihr euch auf die Kommentare für diejenigen, die entsprechend Englisch können, dass es da keine Verständnisprobleme gibt für das, was gesagt wird. Oder für diejenigen, die es lesen wollen, ist es schwierig, wenn im Hintergrund die ganze Zeit hier irgendwas abgeht. Das ist teilweise... Ja, ich bin ein Idiot. Idioten. Thanks. Ah ja.
The core was a central element of this part of the game, and as much as possible, we wanted to constantly reinforce its importance. Zigzagging through the space in 3 dimensions while navigating a variety of challenges let us present a few different visual and gameplay perspectives on the same space. By letting the player see the core from a bunch of different angles, we were able to give them a real sense of its scale.
Hier gibt es auch einige Parallelen zu Portal. Gerade zum Beispiel dieser Schacht, da müsste ja bis in die oberste Etage der Zitadelle gehen. Und das ist ja wie bei Portal, wo der Aufzugsschacht, der von Ladders Kammer bis Ground Zero in die alte Anlage geht. Das ist ja so ähnlich. Mit dem Unterschied, dass wir uns ja nicht auf Ground Zero befinden, das heißt, wenn wir am Kern sind. Das ist euer Auftrag. What?
The second ball tube presents a variation of the pattern the player learned in the first ball tube. While the first tube can be crossed slowly, by crouching and maneuvering your way up, the second ratchets up the pace, requiring a quicker, more responsive approach.
Nö. Ich denke nicht. Okay, das Manöver wird aber dadurch vereinfacht, dass nur die unteren 2 Reihen aktiv sind. In der Hinsicht habe ich schon mitgebracht. Morgen, ihr Idioten. Warum ist das rot? Ach.
The goal of this logic puzzle isn't figuring out that you need to put balls in batteries. It's coming to the realization that, by filling all of them, you've denied yourself an exit, and that you have to desocket one, climb on the lift, and then resocket it. Sparks guide the player to the source of the balls, which happens to be the tube they just passed through.
Nee. Wenn du hier alle reinsteckst, stirbst du. So war es ja im Let's Play, glaube ich. Oder ich habe einfach nur irgendwie ungünstig gestanden. Ah, yes. Yeah, well. So much for that.
Gordon! You did it! The containment system's back in place. It won't last forever, but at least we've bought a little time. While you were in there, I did some poking around in the control data. They were trying to start a chain reaction, all right, but destroying the Citadel is just a side effect. Since we took out Brain's reactor, this is the only way they have to send a transmission packet back to wherever they came from. I can't tell what the packet contains, but it's important enough that they're willing to sacrifice the whole Citadel to send it off.
Okay.
We need to get it back to my dad and Dr. Kleiner at the outpost right away. I've been pulling down a copy. Whatever it is, I have a feeling it's bad news for all of us. There's something else. It's Judith. Take a look.
I'm fairly sure I've pinned down the location of the project. It's hard to say how much of it might have survived intact, or whether there's anything remaining that could compromise our work, if it were discovered by the Combine. We'll need to take a close look at it, of course, but I should be able to give a better opinion within a few hours. If the site is where we think it is, then it should be no more than... I'm gonna cut this short. We may have been spotted.
She's in serious trouble. We need to get this and the transmission packet to my dad. He'll know what to do with it. The packet's done copied. I've got it right here. Now let's get the hell out of here.
Monitor scenes, such as this video transmission from Dr. Mossman, aren't simply pre-rendered video. These scenes actually unfold live in an inaccessible section of the map, while being projected onto the monitor screen. Here's Dr. Mossman in the small Arctic base set. It's not nearly as far away from the Citadel's core control room as it appears to be in the level.
Ja, ich glaube, das war so geplant, dass man es entweder kurz davor oder zeitgleich mit dem Video aktiviert.
Something tells me they don't want us reading the mail.
Huh.
This lift will take us to a train platform. If we can hitch a ride, it should take us straight out of the city.
Ja, zu schön.
Hey, the gravity gun's back to normal. Well, it was nice while it lasted.
Ja. Ladedaten.
Usually, the second step of our training arcs involve a threatening training area. This is the second step in the roller mine training, and true to form, there's the threat. The indestructible roller mines endlessly attack the player in a gated space. The only way to defeat them is to have Alex convert them, which means there's no way the player can miss the point of the training. Players also like to see the AI characters fight each other, so after reminding the player about Alex's roller mine hacking talent, we let you sick them on a pack of Combine soldiers.
Ja, du kannst ja mit die elenden Rollerminen nirgendwo hin. Hier in diesem begrenzten Raum. Hey, Arschgeige. Danke, Alex.
Coast is clear. This is our train. Let's get in. Come on, let's get in.
Oi.
In much the same way that movie effects often utilize different versions of the same model, there are actually three trains that make up the Stalkers.
They're not thrilled about us having
The
it.
first one is the moving train you see arrive at the platform.
We're not
The one you're in right now is a static interior with lights moving outside of it to give the illusion of motion. The third train is the crash version.
Damn,
It's a tilted,
Combine.
banged up, and totally separate area from
This
the
is what
moving version.
happens to you if you
The
resist.
transition from moving to crashed is disguised by a brief fade to black.
We're just in the wrong
Alex's
place.
reaction to the Stalkers went through a number of iterations. In very early versions, Alex was frightened by the Stalkers. That didn't work because it didn't fit with Alex's earlier reactions to Stalkers in the Citadel.
Let's see where this train is.
We changed it so that she expressed anger at the Stalkers' predicament. Early versions of this new direction failed because Alex's transition from generally upbeat to blind rage was simply too abrupt. Ultimately, through rewrites and rigorous testing, we found the right tone for the scene, a simmering anger level that was more in tune with the situation.
Das ist auch interessant, ja. Der Zug 41 scheint zu stehen.
Oh my god.
Oh boy.
Brace yourself.
Oh boy. Halt die Fresse.
Hurry, Gordon. Push. That's it. Keep pulling.
We wanted the crash train car to be very disorienting. In early tests, though, players felt that it was too confusing and too hard to navigate. That feedback prompted us to tone it down a bit. By rearranging some of the geometry, we were able to create a banged-up, tilted environment that still offered a relatively unobstructed path to Alex.
Ja, wenn du es zu verwandt machst, ist auch wieder scheiße. Ladedaten. Hier ist jetzt, glaube ich, Kapitelwechsel, oder? Ja. Ist aber an und für sich egal, weil bei die Kommentare Entwickler folgen mache ich die Aufnahmesession halbiert. Sessions halbiert heißt praktisch 2 Folgen, halbierte Sessionpause. Dann später oder morgen werde ich wahrscheinlich erst weitermachen, die nächsten 2 Folgen. Weil für 4 Folgen ist das einfach zu lang. Beziehungsweise für 4 komplette Kapitel. Alles klar, dann sehen wir uns im nächsten Kapitel wieder. Bis dahin, macht's gut.